Do you have separate bank accounts for each item that you're saving? So this is a great question. This is a question that I actually get all the time. And what this question is actually asking is, say, for example, if you're saving up for car repair, do you have a car repair bank account? If you're saving up for your emergency fund, do you have an emergency fund bank account? Do you have a home down payment bank account? Separating everything into bank accounts. And the answer to this question is twofold. How simple do you want your financial life? And the second question is, do you think more clearly when everything is in individual compartments? There's two things that are happening here. So if they're minor savings goals, say I'm saving up for a new sofa, or I'm saving up for something that's small, under $3,000, then I'm just gonna keep it into my checking account and track it in a budget. But if I'm saving up for something where it's a big ticket item, then I'm gonna be much more likely to open a bank account for that item. So say, for example, I wanna save for a down payment on a house. Well, that's a lot of money and it's gonna take some time to save up for that. So I want that in a compartment. I want it to be separate from everything else so that I can see the progress over time. Now, if you're motivated by the progress to seeing how much those dollars are actually growing over time, then maybe a separate bank account is for you. But I'm gonna show you another option as well in a second here so that you can see, hey, maybe I can put it all in one account and put it in compartments that way. So really, the longer the savings goal, the longer the time horizon is for that savings goal, the more likely it is that I'm going to put it in a separate account. Now, I don't like having a ton of different accounts. I like to simplify money, and I like to teach everybody else to do that as well, because simplification is the easiest path to money. It reduces your stress. You don't have to worry as much. Making it as simple as possible is what you want to do. But if you feel better if the money is in a separate account, then by all means, go ahead and do it. Some people call this sinking funds, where they literally put any savings goal at all into what is called a sinking fund, separate bank accounts, and they put them in those accounts by label. Now, there's also other options, and one big one that I'm testing out right now is one with Ally Bank, where they have savings buckets where you can actually put your dollars in one account and you can actually compartmentalize every single savings goal that you have. So this is a really cool option that I'm testing out right now. I'll give you guys my findings as we come out here. I'll maybe make a YouTube video talking about exactly what I think about these buckets. But this is a great option for a lot of people. Now, I used to utilize Capital One's and it had sub accounts as well underneath your account where you could do this, but they took that away. So Ally Bank is the only one that I know of right now that does it. And so that's why we are testing it out to see how it is. Because having these savings buckets, I think, is really cool. And it's a great way mentally to see your savings goals over time. But you don't want to have a million bank accounts for every little thing if you don't have to. If you like it better that way, then do it. But for me personally, if it's a big ticket item, maybe I'm saving up for a car, saving up for a house, saving up for a big home remodel, for example, then all of those things would go into their own savings accounts just so I can keep that money separated. But if it's a shorter term thing, I just track it in my budget and I leave it in there. Now, for most people with the emergency fund, for example, the emergency fund probably should be in a separate account because you want to make sure that it's a lot harder to get to. Like if you want to go out and blow some money, you want to make sure that it's not easy to get to that money and blow your emergency fund. Instead, just have a little cash buffer in between in your savings account and then separate the emergency fund somewhere else. That's how I like to do it. But if you like to just have it right accessible, then go for that. But it's kind of a personal choice. But for me specifically, big long-term items, they go in separate accounts. Short-term items that aren't a big deal, $3,000 or less, something in that range, then they just stay within my savings account. Now, remember, when you have these savings accounts open, a big thing that we talk about here at Master Money and the Personal Finance Podcast all the time is making sure if it's a long-term savings goal, then you want to have it in a high-yield savings account. You don't want to be investing those dollars. Any goal less than 5 years, you want to have it in a high-yield savings account. Now, I understand inflation. I understand that you're not going to have as much money as if you would have invested it. But if there's a downturn and you need those dollars for that specific thing that you're saving for, then your money's going to get cut in half if it's invested. So you want to make sure that you actually put those dollars in something like a high-yield savings account, money market account, somewhere along those lines. We have some of our favorites linked up in the show notes or down below, so you can check those out as well to see what our favorites are. Thank you guys so much for watching this money Q&A video. If you guys have any questions or want to leave a question with me, hit me up on Instagram or TikTok at Master Money Co. And if you like this video, here's another Q&A video that I know you're going to love.